safe place to ask questions, to learn. And I lost my really big one, so I've got one here. The norms are we're going to start and end on time. The fireside chats go from 10:15 to 11:15 approximately. We listen to learn. That's the goal, is to really learn and open up our minds a little bit about these different topics. Respect multiple perspectives. Don't freeze others in time, including yourself. We all have something to learn. Sometimes things happen, and all of a sudden we have that aha. Ask questions for clarification. You know, there may be some terms that are brought up today that maybe you've never heard of. So with that, I'd like to welcome Natalie Lashmet, my friend who I've known now for maybe just a little over a year. Natalie has a background in science, is a former nurse in our area, but she's also very passionate. She's passionate about the river. I know she kayaks on the river. Some of you may fish on the river. Some of you may swim in the river. That's my thing. I will swim in the river. So she's going to talk about the impact of sulfide mining, and be aware that she's very passionate. She's going to knock it out of the park. And with that, I'll let you rock it.
I don't know if that's a good introduction or not.
It's the best I can do.
Okay.
You did great, Michelle.
I want to start with a joke. You guys all know that this isn't a joke. This is a preamble. Finlanders have a reputation being very stoic. Is that okay? It's a thing. So my first husband, literally, no joke, was a Finlander, up from Kimono. And for some reason, after we were divorced, he and I were driving in a car down the highway in Menominee, and he saw a big sign that said sulfide, no sulfide mining. And it moved him to an emotion.
Wow.
Oh, really? He was like, this is sulfide mining? I said, yeah. I knew nothing about it, nothing. And he goes, oh, that's the bad kind. And I was like, whoa, I better pay attention to this. So, here's a joke. Did you hear about the Finlander that loved his wife so much, he almost told her? So if that sulfide mining moved my first husband to an emotion, I knew it was big. So then I went to a presentation that some volunteers had put on at the high school in Menominee, and it was horrifying, the things I learned about what this could do and what was it all about. And so I asked questions afterwards, and one of my questions was, well, when the mine starts putting out this pollution above and beyond what their permits let them do, what happens? I mean, like, does a big arm come down, like when a train's coming, or does a red light flash? And the man said, no, nothing happens. And by the way, the mining company gets to do all their own water testing. I just couldn't even believe it. And so also standing up in front when I went up to ask this question was the then Menominee city manager. And I swear to you, I watched the color wash out of his face. He literally turned white. And he goes, you know what that means? When they're exceeding what Michigan municipalities can put out in their water system, we have to close off the water. We won't even have running water in Menominee. That's right then I got involved in this. I wanted to learn all about it, and I wanted to make sure other people did too. So a friend of mine is a retired filmmaking instructor from Purdue University. And he said we should make a film, and I should take it all around the country to film festivals, and, you know, tell everybody what this is all about. So we have been working on this for 100 years. This man has got one foot on the banana peel and the other in the grave already. I don't know if this film will ever get finished. But a local guy, when I told him this story, he is a musician, and he decided he would help by doing what he does, which is make songs. song. It only takes a few minutes. If you went to the website, greenwashfilm.com, which I honestly don't maintain, you will see the music video. Well, he just wrote the music. But we put it to audio. Tried to match the pictures to the words. Water is life. I tried to have life. Children. So here's the credits. John Hoyer, a.k.a. Shaman Wan, wrote that.
That's a beautiful song.
Yes.
Yeah, well done.
He's a musician. That's what it is. All right. Let's unplug yours and put in mine. The reason I show that, not only because it's wonderful, but if I was going to be taking these to film festivals around the country, everybody there doesn't know what you all know, that this is why we love this river. It's, for one thing, fresh water, but for another,
one of the major rivers of the state.
It's the largest watershed river in the UP.
Yes.
And it drains right into Lake Michigan, the Green Bay of Lake Michigan, which is, the Great Lakes are 21% of the entire world's fresh surface water. And we shan't be messing with them. Do you all think, I don't know how to do this, but would it be easier to see the screen if the light in here was on?
Try it.
No?
It's fine.
You're so animated and easy to listen to, you
Because
know.
I have a bigger voice than you. All right, this is the real Animas River in Colorado, before and after their tailings dam broke open and contaminated the river. And if my fingers will suit me right, what do I have to do here? Slideshow. Where's the little thing that lets me move this along?
Can I help you?
Yeah, can you help me? Did you do it earlier?
Do you have a slideshow? Okay.
From the very side.
The very side.
No.
And now, it's just use either that or use the rest of it. Looks like that. Looks like that.
Where would I go? Anywhere.
All right.
Thanks.
Trust me. I don't know how much is it, just that, is that your second one?
No, that was my notes just out there.
I don't know, I'm just doing this.
Okay, all right, just leave this.
Are you sure?
Well, it's good to start.
Okay.
All right, so sulfide-bound minerals are minerals bound to sulfide material. This, hey, it's going back. This proposed mine, and I always try to say the proposed mine because that's exactly what it is. It's not here yet, and we can still prevent it. They are looking for sulfide minerals. Sometimes it's called what? Sulfide-bound minerals. And sulfide-bound minerals would be gold, silver, copper, what are the other ones? Zinc, nickel.
Lead.
They're things people want. And so as long as there's gold and then there are hills, people are going to want to be mining these minerals. They can make a fortune and leave us with a toxic waste dump forevermore. Yeah, so it must be set to auto speed. There's a way to do it out there differently. Too many cooks spoil the broth there.
Or Natalie will just have to talk like a 70-minute speech.
You're dating yourself.
All right, so then do that.
All right.
I have to
Is this
reprogram
slide
it.
number 2?
I assumed it was.
Well, we'll just go with it. Hey, how come it's now? How come it's not on the screen?
Check your
Yeah,
connection.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The mining company is going to want to say all kinds of things to make us think this is a great idea to have a mine here. Think of the benefits to your community. Yeah, no tourism, no water, no fishing, whatever. We'll lose income because things like that, those fishing festivals that come here, those world tours, nationwide tours, whatever, they bring in thousands and thousands of dollars. So one of the things they say is, don't worry about this mine. We have 21st century mining. 21st century mining means it's even worse because back in the day when Wisconsin had a miner on their flag and panners could go out west and find gold nuggets, all those sites are gone in our country. And the only ones left are the ones with just minuscule amounts, and so their mines have to be bigger and deeper for the economy of scale to get out of them, worth what they put in. So the analogy for that is, in the olden days, mining was like picking the chocolate chips out of the cookie. Today's 21st century mining is like mining the sugar out of the chocolate chip cookie, which you know after they bake it, you can't pull the sugar out. It's become part of it. It melted and all that. So they have to really do a lot in order to find that sugar in that cookie. This one we're not going to go through. Oh, maybe. The frequency and severity of mine failures are worse now because their mines are bigger and they have more waste, and that makes more trouble. So I grew up in the Detroit area, and at one point, the Detroit River caught on fire. I was little, and I remember thinking, how can a river catch on fire? Rivers put out, water puts out fires. And the truth was, there was so much pollution on top of the water, oil and everything, that's what burned. It was just staggering to me to think that water could burn. Oh no. So, just the way that pollutants got on the river, these mines, and these are massive. I don't know if you've ever seen any one of these kind of trucks before, but look at this one. They're the size of a duplex condo system, these things. They make so much dust and dirt that it gets into the air, and then when it rains, acid is in that rain. I'll tell you about the acid in a minute. And look at the trees. So when somebody was asked at a meeting about, was this the Michigan Eagle guy that said, oh, don't worry, the animals will go somewhere else. Like when we said, where are the deer going to live, you know? Oh, don't worry about that. So no man-made law can prevent the fact of weather and chemistry. When this acid, the sulfide in the sulfide minerals, which is what they're looking for here, when that gets exposed to air or water, it becomes sulfuric acid. It's chemistry, we cannot change that. So if they come here and if they mine here, we will have acid rain. This is an example of once they dig those minerals out, am I in people's way? When they dig these minerals out, they crush them to the particle size of talcum powder. That's small. And so it aerosolizes so easily. So like these winds we've been having, when that happens and they're mining, your lawn and your landscaping still look like this. Your pond, whatever. It's completely destructive.
Natalie, we have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that contributing, do you think, to the wildfires up in Minnesota and Canada? All the dead trees caused by the sulfide mining?
That's a really great analogy. And I don't know the answer, but it's, why not, right?
I'm saying it's probably making it worse. They keep saying clean the forest, that's impossible.
Yeah,
But
let's
yet they're
raise the
adding to
forest.
it in this way, so.
I was kayaking up in the Knife River, which is kind of far up into Canada. This was like 10 years ago. But anyways, we came out of this river, and there was a huge truck grading the road, and they have to grade the road every day because those trucks are so heavy that they make ruts in the road, and they have to grade the road every day. So there was a gold mine straight up from where we live now, up in Canada, on the other side of Lake Superior. And I was just amazed that they had to grade that road every day because the trucks were so heavy.
There's chairs.
Right there.
All right. This is things people would say to me. Won't it be all right if the mining company just follows all the laws and regulations? No. No man-made fact or no law can prevent the fact that 100% of these sulfide mines pollute. So, do you remember the Flint water crisis? Let's see if I fixed this sign yet. Yes, I did. Ed McBroom, our senator, argued with me vehemently that the old Governor Snyder was not convicted for being complicit in that Flint water crisis. And I was wrong and he was right. He wasn't convicted, because that's a criminal trial word. He was found liable, which is a civil court word. Anyways, what happened in the Flint water crisis was, Flint was going financially broke, and so the state decided they'd take it over and make some changes and get them to be in a better financial situation. And so they took them off the Detroit water, which they had diverted up to Flint to give that whole town water, and they went back to using the Flint River for their river. Well, the Flint River was so polluted with acidic stuff that it literally made pock marks, corroded and made pock marks on the, was it a GM plant that was there? And GM said, we can't have this. We can't have your water ruining our systems. So Snyder decided to take the motor plant off of that water and put them back on Detroit water. And everyone else in Flint had to stay with this nasty, dirty, polluted water. And that's what he got convicted for.
Nice cozy chair for you right over there.
So
you can pull it out if you'd like. Just pull it out in front if you'd like.
The point of this is, don't even hope that our government can save us, because we know that some of them are just as crooked as everybody else. All right, so this is what acid mine drainage is. You saw the Animas River in Colorado. The mining company, to try to take their own name out of this, has changed acid mine drainage to the phrase acid rock drainage. I told you this. The Menominee City manager at the time said when the levels exceed what a Michigan municipality can send out, all our water is going to be cut off. You want to flush your toilet? Too bad, so sad. Take a shower? Not happening here.
So the question is, if, that was a former city manager, and as we listen and learn, we want to be able to ask these questions once again to whoever is in that seat, and to find out because, I know that you've got way more to go, Natalie, but the thing is, we can't, as we're learning more, the questions that we need to ask need to be asked.
Right.
We have to.
Right. Luckily for us, did anybody just hear that Big Gretsch approved all 5 permits for Line 5?
I read that this morning.
Breaks our little hearts. But luckily for us, Michigan is one of 3 or 4 states in the union that can approve their own mines. This is good. So no matter what any bad orange people do to the Environmental Protection Agency, Michigan can still hold up to Michigan standards. They don't have a vote in whether or not Michigan approves this. We have to make sure we keep that. All right, so everybody knows when the dust settles, it's going to settle on the top of the land. But every time it rains or snows, like it might do here in our area, that water seeps down and goes into underwater aquifers, where anybody that has a well, that's where you're getting your water from, and it falls into the lake and everything. So our water will be polluted if this mine comes in. One of the worst things about a mine is, because it's in this sulfide material, and these sulfide elements are going to turn into sulfuric acid. Anytime it's exposed to air or water, it's going to create this acid mine drainage. This I took right off Aquila. The first threat for the mine here, the company's name was Aquila. They've changed their names a couple of times, but this was their own design for this proposed mine. You see the Menominee River. You see this open mine pit. Move that if you want to. This was 50 yards from from the river. This huge, 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 huge pit. I took the pleasure of making a red check mark every place on this site map of theirs where there could be this acid mine drainage generating. Any of these places are going to have this rock in any form that they dig it up on their site. So there's a lot of chance for this acid mine drainage. And every time it rains and every time it snows, it's going someplace. And they also want to hose down the roads on their site so they're not making as much dust. But where's that going? It's flowing, right? It's flowing downhill just like everything else. So we have a huge, and I just wanted to say, here's another one, little mine deception. Who knows what they were calling this mine? It had a name.
The Back 40.
The Back 40.
Oh, yeah.
So they call it the Back 40. This project's actual area was 1,200 acres. Not 40 acres. And with the total mineral rights they control, it's 3,200 acres. And someplace in here I thought I wrote how many acres actually is the city of Menominee. Right here, 3,300 acres is the landmass of Menominee. 3,000.
Right.
Theirs would be
Almost as big.
almost as. Don't forget, they get to do their own dam reports, their own dam water reports, on top of this huge earthen, which means dirt bulldozed up into the outside of a bowl shape, and inside the bowl, they put their most toxic waste because they don't want people exposed to it, so they put it up here. So this earthen tailings dam is a toxic waste basin. Ever made a sandcastle? What happens when the ocean water comes up on shore to your sandcastle?
It crumbles.
It crumbles. So that's what happens to so many of these. There's no concrete, there's no iron girders, there's nothing. It's just bulldozed through. So when this wet, toxic soup seeps down, a lot of these mines blow. These tailings dams, they blow. So they're wicked dangerous. Let's see if you guys are any different than every other audience I've ever had this show. Anybody here ever personally been to the pyramids in Egypt? Rachel, you rocked it.
Wow.
You're the only one. Was that in the military?
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff in the Middle East, so.
Okay. Tell us how big they are.
I can't.
They're huge.
Yeah.
They're massive.
You just don't know.
If you
until
can
see
see
it.
the size of the people, these are huge. So I actually did the
Like,
math.
had to be.
Yeah, and it turns out that 2 giant pyramids of Giza would be the size of their tailings dam. Yeah, and think how much that holds. This is This is a mine in, I think, Africa, and this was, I think, a diamond mine, so that's why their color looks different. Ours would be that orange color, but see how dry this is? This is nothing but scrub and rock, and underground, it's still got the water polluted from when they had that mine there. And ours is only going to be worse because we're way more watery. But ours will be not engulfed like this. It'll be right 50 yards from the Menominee River. Supposedly, that was their first plan. We'll see what they offer. These are some of the earthen tailings dams. They call them facilities. When I think of a facility, I think of like a football stadium or even a gym. These are they're like what you made in the sand as a kid. So here's one of them, and they just break. They just break open with the wetness and the power and the weight of the water. And then when they do, all the toxins that were in there come out and they go downhill. This is one of them, and this was probably an iron mine with the color of this. It isn't as sulfide as the ones we might see. But when this tailings dam broke in this town, it literally took out a train bridge. It wipes out houses, it kills people when these flow. Around here, it would kill wildlife, the environment, and some people's homes and farms. You think there are animals that were in there?
Honey, can you move your cup?
My cup on the cover? Here's just more pictures of broken tailings dams. You can see how it floods open. This one here is this the same slide?
It's the same
Yeah.
picture.
It looks familiar.
My screen changed. This one is a picture of what they do with these tailings dams after, and look at the pine trees. This is how big this is, way over the tops of the trees. They just pat the edges down and reseed them with grass or whatever, wildflowers, whatever, and they go, it's done. Yeah, no, it's not done. They still burst. Like the front of that first slide we saw with the Andes River, that was decades after that mine was out of commission. And it's still, this stuff is just forever toxic. It's not going to change. Yes.
Isn't it true that they just plant short-rooted things because the tree won't even grow on that? Because
Probably.
the roots go down into the poison.
And then they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has anybody here driven through Sudbury over in Canada? At all? Sudbury used to look like us. They were lush boreal forests. And then mining happened there. You go through it now, it's the surface of the moon. And it's been like that for so long that that's how people remember it now. It's been like that for, 40 years. But it legitimately looks like the surface of the moon.
I know, no one wants to go to Sudbury. That's what I
Sudbury
heard.
is a desolate
Go
wasteland.
around another way, don't go through Sudbury.
Here's how it broke. This one was in Canada, was in Canada. Before this tailings dam broke, this river, way up in the hills, was only like 5 feet wide. The power of this water coming through broke this. This is where the dam, the mining company was. Broke this. You can see this water surface is getting bigger and bigger. This was now tens of meters wide instead of 5 feet wide. All this stuff is all these trees that this water that comes down like a chainsaw just knocks these trees all out, and then it made a little blockade in this. This lake used to be a great salmon trail in Canada. Well, it's not anymore. This one here is a recent mine that blew in South America. There's a car on top of a driveway or a garage. It literally leveled this entire town. Lots of people were missing. I have a really gory news show of when they're trying to pick people out of this muck. It's actually too gross to show. I don't even want to see it. This here is another mine. This one was, I believe, in Mexico. It might say it. The mine was way up here in the mountains. When their tailings dam broke, it went all the way down to here. It flowed into the ocean just like eventually Lake Michigan does, right? Which is weird. Lake Michigan goes up and around through Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and on into the St. Lawrence Seaway and into the ocean. So that could happen here. This plume from the mine went 300 miles into the ocean. And look what it did to the ocean. Sure, it's going to clean up eventually, right? If you flew over that, you wouldn't see it orange anymore. But what happened to all those heavy metals? They're in there. Up in Keweenaw, where my first Finlandic husband was from, they, half a mile offshore, fish still can't breathe from the mines from more than 60 years ago. They can swim through it, but they can't eat there and they can't breathe there. No useful water. when they grind this, whatever, rock into the size of particles of talcum powder, why they do that is they put them in gigantic vats, probably maybe the size of this room, I don't know, and put cyanide in it. So we're going to have tons of trucks full of cyanide driving up here, and the cyanide mixes chemically with the gold particles. It makes a foam, and that rises up to the surface. They skim that off and then send it somewhere for processing into things we really, really need, like gold jewelry and stuff. What a musician told me one time was, you can't make good beer out of dirty water. So that's why the beer is in there. The original plans, like I showed you on the former screen, said, the back 40 said they'd use 1.24 billion pounds of cyanide. Who wants that here?
No.
Yeah, no. For any of us that remember, what's his name? Grandpa?
Yeah, remember Ed?
Grandpa's Ed Smith.
Yeah.
He was like Bernie Sanders, running around yelling all the time. The cyanide, cyanide kills. Cyanide kills. Cyanide plus gold equals foam. Huh? Oh, man. Memory like a half a second. Here's a few of the destructions that would happen. This is an old-time cartoon. Mine. He's running off with all the money. When he leaves us with the toxic waste forevermore dump, now it's yours. Now it's ours again. Okay, so the Menominee tribe has burial sites there. Their origin stories here. Their sacred and ceremonial sites are here. The tons of cyanide that's used will be kept on site. What do they do with it when it's old and they've used it? I don't know. The wetlands are endangered species. All species are apt to get lost. Our kids, if they go through with this, and if there still is a super site fund, depending on how we vote, our kids will be paying that. Nothing will stop the flow of these oceans. They're just going to flow the way water flows. I personally think it's frightening. And I couldn't let it happen. We're not losing this so rich people can get richer. So some friends of ours that are right here decided to take all the anti-mining group and make a coalition. Does this say coalition? A coalition to save the Menominee River. And then a bunch of groups got together, and if you ever remember our protests on the bridge or all the fun stuff we ever did, that was the brainchild of other people who cared and said, we're not having this here either. I'm sure does this QR code work anymore? Is there a thing for donations or?
Yeah, it's all on the website.
Okay. This is just a blow up. 50 yards. Can pro football players throw that ball 50 yards?
Sure.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yes. Okay, so literally,
On their back foot.
Not a lion.
literally you could throw a stone at how far this is. I couldn't do it.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. And for how deep it is, was planned. This is the original plans, and they might do something different if it ever comes here over my dead body and those of some of us here. 2 statues of liberty with their stands deep was how deep this pit was going to be. But don't worry, 50 yards from the river. Aquila, the first company, they were just going to make like a little cement, like those things you see in the road. Little cement divider. Yeah. Don't worry. We'll protect you.
I can't imagine the number of pumps you need to pump water out that was coming in through the groundwater into the, they would have to run 24/7 to keep it dry enough to run in there.
Yeah. He's not a plant. But I'm glad you brought that up. Because when they're digging, natural water is gonna seep into this. And so they have to continuously pump this water out. It used to just live in the ground, but now it's all gonna be pumped out. Guess which river it's gonna flow down? And maybe they'll process it first. I think that's like their legal obligation, but we'll see. So there's something called the cone of dehydration, where for X number of miles all around this site, all those wells are going to go dry because they're continuously pumping the water out. So you had a nice cabin up north? No, it's a nice dry cabin. Hold on, sir.
No.
Oh, you're pointing out there.
This one is-
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
The estimate on the dewatering would actually drop the water level of Shaky Lakes 4 feet.
Did anyone go to the fair this weekend? We didn't either. All right, so you remember I said the GM plant in Flint, Michigan. What's this one I didn't show? Miles from here. Okay, this picture of the ocean that I showed on a previous screen, I told you that stuff flowed 300 miles downstate. 300 miles would get all the way through Lake Huron from here. And when Flint, the ever-loving governor of our state, decided to divert the water back to the Flint River water, back to the people in Flint, it literally, this acid corrodes the metal. And I told you about that. The people were complaining because, or GM complained. And they put GM back on good water and not this. So this is what the people were saying. They were bringing in these things and they were saying, our water's getting worse and worse and worse. Oh, no, don't worry about it.
There was a lot of lead contamination.
There was a
too.
lot of lead contamination there. Was Abdul involved in any of that? Abdul El-Sayed?
I don't know if he was.
I think he was.
Oh,
he
he
was
was?
into population health. That's what he does, epidemiologist. And I think he was part of making sure this goes better for people. So what they did with the lead that came into the water is they literally prompted a generation of kids in Flint to have potential retardation, because that's what the lead does to growing brains.
They tried to cover it
Knowingly
up.
and willingly. So when people tell me, no, Michigan is a water wonderful state, they won't do this to us. Oh yes, they will.
Hi,
yes,
from
they
an
will.
Indian reservation, just saying.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
Alright, so I showed you the dust and the noise. This picture down here is another cyanide spill in the other side of the world, but look what it did to the fish. There go all the fishermen, there go all the people who wanted to eat food. Just saying.
You can extrapolate that drop in water to the AI centers, because down in Louisiana, people had no power in their water pipes and they couldn't take a shower. It just like dribbled out because the AI centers had taken so much water away from the community that they just didn't have enough for each house anymore.
And I saw a video of people, townspeople around the data center, showing those bottles of water like that. Look what they're doing. All right. So we all know Michigan. This is for, if I showed this in other places that didn't quite get the whole Michigan thing. But this is Shaky Lakes. This was the proposed mine site. Here's the Menominee River. They're so close, it's frightening. Here's another picture of the river, and there's the mine. Proposed mine.
Geologically, it's really interesting because you have the limestone, down this way, when you look at the white rocks on the water here. But when you go up to that park along the Menominee River, that's actually volcanic up there, and that's where they're going for the ores, because you have to go into that type of rock to get it.
Ever question in your mind, how come the UP, all the way across the UP to Keweenaw, Minnesota, and on into Canada, there's this before even I was born. They dropped these kind of minerals along there. So that's why this is good for, these are good for mining. Who here likes to fish? 4 or 5 people. Little cute fishing hands.
I used to fish, I caught them all.
That's what I think.
All right.
You can't eat very many of them out of Lake Michigan anyways.
Right, it's kind of across the street from the potential mine site is a little, I don't know, it's not even a park, it's a put-in, right? We put in, you can put your kayaks in there, whatever.
It's a boat launch.
Oh, thank you, the word is boat launch, it's a boat launch. If you walked a hair of the way, like from me to that big pillar, into the woods there, you would see this gigantic thing. And being a happy little idiot, I would have never thought of it. But it was, these things, which are native burial sites, were actually in 1972,
Excavated?
They did, not forensics, but whatever.
Archaeological.
Thank you. Archaeological, a student at NMU or a professor, somebody from NMU went in and actually ascertained, verified that for sure these were Menominee Native Indian graves. And I don't even want to try to think about that. I really could. Think about somebody going and destroying your family's graves.
Yeah.
For money. It's appalling. That's all I have to say about that. So the Menominee tribe was very instrumental in being part of this shove to not have this money. All right, it's your turn. Q&A. Thank you.
Well, while you're on the grave, Dr. David Overstreet,
Oh, yeah.
he did extensive research, and it's all documented, but he was an archaeologist himself.
Thank you.
Maybe you. But he documented the grave sites, the skeletons that she's referring to were actually carbon tested, and they proved that those skeletons were thousands of years old, right there at the site. And of course, there's the dark.
Yeah, isn't that part of the mound builders down a little bit south of us?
And south of you and to the east of you. As a matter of fact,
The mound builders.
you have Spider Cave right over there between Danzig
Yes.
and Escanaba. The prehistoric hieroglyphs that are on those stones, those 400 million old white limestone cliffs, they are more than 3,000 years old.
For anybody that doesn't know, this is Rachel Pease. She's running for Michigan House of this district, and when I stop blabbing, she will. Anishinaabe?
That predates the Anishinaabe. We're talking about the Algonquin.
What are you?
I am Anishinaabe, but it's like an
Yes,
address, right? So I live in the United States, I live in Michigan, I live in Chippewa County, I live in Brimley. I am indigenous, Algonquin, Anishinaabe, Chippewa.
I'm glad she said that.
too.
I wouldn't have gotten that straight.
So if I am Anishinaabe, I am also Algonquin.
Okay. So I'm going to believe whatever she says.
So one of the reasons we have these fireside chats is really to surface the pros, the cons, understand everything better, and then determine what next steps might be. So as I'm listening to Natalie, so from those who are for the mine, the benefit would be those who are gaining money and funds from the mine, while also saying that there's some sort of economic benefit.
That's what I was going to ask. How long do we go from boreal forest to the surface of the moon like they did in Sudbury? How long is the mine actually here? Like, what is their
That's a
time?
great question. And the answer was, did they tell us 8 years? Was that how they're being permitted? But they told their investors 16?
5 to 7 years is what
5 to 7 years is how they're trying to get
So
permitted.
it's not even job security for somebody.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. And those people, they're not hiring you and me to drive those trucks. They're getting certified miners who are used to this.
So
But people in the county think, remember when they threw pop cans at us when we were at a parade? Crazy. They think they're going to get additional income if they live up there, because they're gonna be housing these miners who are gonna have to come. We know when miners come, men just go away from their families, more crime, more fights, more human trafficking. It's not a good deal for our community, I just have to say, Paul.
Yeah, I heard that there has never in history been a sulfide mine that did not pollute. Is that correct or not?
As far as we know, you cannot stop that
Yeah.
sulfuric acid from forming in these.
Well, I think that point needs to be made everywhere.
The company that wants to do this, are they from Michigan? From the
No,
United
they're
States?
actually from Canada, but they were smart enough to start, have a little office in Colorado where the big mining school is, the best one in the country. So now they can say they're an America, US-based firm.
But they're a Canadian company?
But yeah, they're Canadians, they're a Canadian company, and they do this. Remember the shell game? You put the little stick or rock or something, and you change them around, and then you guess which one it's under. The mining companies keep turning over people. This time he was the CEO, next time he's the CFO, next time this is the this is the this, whatever. And so it's just like inbreeding.
So can you help us understand then what, what the current status might be then?
That's a great question. The original company that started this whole shindig here, they just merged. They've changed their name a couple of times. Now we call them Goro, G-O-R-O, because that was their stock exchange name. They just merged with another company, which means they got a big influx of money. And now they've had enough money that they can hire a company, which they have done, to do their feasibility study. Is it even feasible to get a mine in here? So yeah, the threat is back, and we could be firing up again.
And I have a question, okay? Water is the biggest element. You need that to survive. Everybody needs water to survive. Why is it such a big issue to keep the water clean? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Is it this?
If we don't
Did you hear what
have
she
water,
said? Why don't we want to save the water?
if we don't have water, we all die. It should be very simple.
It should be. Why don't these rich people get it?
They don't care.
They don't.
The issue is they really don't care.
They have water.
They're going to have everything they need forever. There are people in the United States who have places where they have enough supplies for 2 or 3 years. You can't even get there by a car. You have to fly in by helicopter. They have.
Which one is that? Bezos in Hawaii? It's one of the
the
roads.
one I'm speaking about is a patient of mine actually was in this area, but the guy was head of a major drug manufacturing company, and they literally don't care. And that's, I'm not exaggerating, they don't care. And because they think that they're going to be fine, and if we all die, that's good news because they'll have more places to go.
But Doctor, we are the masses, and the masses should have a voice.
Yeah, but the masses,
We don't matter.
This gets to inside baseball, but the fact is the masses don't have the power anymore. The power of the oligarchy has more power than nations, including the United States.
But the masses would have the power if everybody stood up for it.
The masses,
And-
not the
and
money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and
Would I be allowed to address the group?
Absolutely. Dale founded the coalition to save the Menominee River.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dale. 2017, we could see what was happening. And my wife and I we pulled a group together at UW. We had 28 people at our first meeting, and we started the coalition to save the Menominee River. Since that time, we've grown because of the threat, if you will, of this sulfide mining on the Menominee River. We gained a lot of support. It was the hot item. Everybody wanted to be part of it, and we got a lot of donors, and we raised money. We had garage sales, all the stuff that we went through. It was enormous. We got grants. I just want to give you a status. The plan right now is, as Natalie mentioned, Goro is the primary agency that owns the land of the back 40 and all of the rented acres that they have from the state of Michigan. And just so you know, the state of Michigan, when they lease their mineral assets to a company, they're in it for a piece of the action. They're also, they're in it for the money as well, the entire state. So when you fight against this, you're not only fighting against the mining company, but you're also fighting against the diplomats who have made the laws to garner their piece of the action. A few years ago, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, we actually sued the state of Michigan for water permits that were issued to Aquila. We spent 19 days in testimony in Lansing, and through the efforts of the judge, we were able to prove that the hydrology reports were in error. They were cut and pasted into their documents. And we had our attorney, he's still on staff with us, is Ted Warpinski, one of the top environmental attorneys in Wisconsin. Being licensed in Wisconsin, he cannot practice in Michigan. So we have to retain attorneys in Michigan to get Ted into court in Michigan. So more expense. These lawyers are running about $300.
Can't you partner with the Menominee tribe on that, since they are a sovereign nation and not voted?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Can't you partner with the Menominee Nation on that, since they're a sovereign nation?
Okay,
they wouldn't be bound by.
Let me explain that. When we sued the state of Michigan in Lansing, the Menominee Indian population was also with us. They had their own attorneys, we had ours, and there was also a gentleman who was an adjacent landowner that filed suit. He was an attorney, but he did file suit with us. So there were the 3 entities that sued Aquila. Now, as Natalie mentioned, that it's like a pawn game. You know, they all change names and identities, and they file under different names. Well, Barry Hildred, who was the CEO of Aquila at that time, he has branched off, and now you maybe have heard something about Greenlight Metals. Okay, Greenlight Metals is operating in Wisconsin, but Barry Hildred is still one of the key players in that, along with some of his other cronies. So they're still going. The gentleman that is now the CEO of Goro, Gold Resource, he and our rest in peace, Dr. Geddix, and Leah Jane and I actually met with him at a motel right here in Menominee, and to lay our cards on the table of where we were. And he, of course, as the CEO of Gold Resources, he said, well, we have the land, we are going to pursue this. That is our mission. So at that time, they also own a gold mine in Mexico. And in that period of time, they had a lot of bad weather. A lot of their mining equipment broke down. They didn't have the capital to fix it. So they go out and they enlist other investors to come in, bring the money, get the equipment fixed. Well, they got it fixed and they're back in operation again. That mine is actually generating revenue. The revenue that is being produced there, their intention is to invest it in the back 40. So the threat is still going to be there.
So what's the most effective way to fight this, in your opinion?
In my opinion, the most effective way, you can't fight it from the ground. You can demonstrate, we can let people know, we can have, Facebook news articles and everything to get the word out. But I'll tell you what, from what I've seen, the only way you're going to fight them is in a court of law. So, right now, I'll give you a status on that. There's a road that goes through.
You can fight them in court, and you can also fight them by voting for elected officials who will not propagate this.
Oh, there you go. There's your choice. But you got to get the word out that these are the ones you're going to endorse because, and to prove that, we got to do that. And that's the hard job. But,
Tell us about that road.
about the road. Boneyard Road goes right across their property. We've had people out there that got arrested for trespassing. Well, we filed a case through the courts to show that Boneyard Road is actually a public access road. And the road commission, they have no idea. They don't know what it is. They don't maintain it. However, if you take Boneyard Road all the way across, comes out on County Road in Daggett anyway. And there are hunting camps back there. So people live on it, or they have houses on it. So we set out to prove that that is a public access road, and Goro cannot put no trespassing signs out on a road that they don't control.
They have gated it off.
So Mary was part of that. And the judge, it went before the judge, and he ruled. We filed it through an attorney in Escanaba that didn't do as well as we expected. But nevertheless, the judge ruled because we said that we were also representing the public, because the public is the people who should own that road in the state of Michigan. Judge says we don't have a right to use them as standing. So he dismissed the case, which is okay. He dismissed it, cost us a bunch of money, but he dismissed it. He could have ruled in the other favor, and that would have been the end of it. But he didn't. He simply dismissed it. So we are in the process right now. We went back to the original partner attorney in Lower Michigan that we had when we won the case 5 years ago. So we went back to him, and he prepared the brief. Financially, it's no brief. It's very, very extended. It's huge. But he has covered, he's taken into consideration Michigan law and how we can approach this to get it done. So it was submitted to the judge, and right now, as of today, we are waiting for the judge's determination whether to accept this as an appeal. And from what I can gather from our attorney, that it goes to a judge, and if he accepts the case, which we hope he does, he'll lay it out for possibly 3 or 4 attorneys, judges, as a panel to make this decision on this road. I think, okay, here's another concern why we pursued the road. The original, you just saw the pit layout. Okay, how huge that was. Yes, you saw the pit. Okay, that actually encompasses the road. So if that were to be ruled as a public access, then all the way to the middle of the earth, that's going to be public access. So that would definitely shrink the size of the pit. And I did hear that in just rumors and ramblings that they are considering a shaft mine. So if they do a shaft mine, it's going to completely reduce the size of the imprint, but it'll go straight down, and when they get to the level, about 1,700 to 2,000 feet, then they can branch out and actually mine that sulfuric ore body.
Can they go under the river in Wisconsin?
That's yet to be determined.
Isn't that dragline?
But when you get that far down, how do you
How
control
do
it?
we know?
The other thing that we have to consider is that although somebody was talking about limestone today, that whole area is soft limestone.
Oh, is it limestone up there?
It is.
So they're not up into that hard, basalt stuff?
Well, when they get down 2,000 feet,
They will.
yeah.
Well, then it just lines,
However, the limestone is at the upper levels.
and everything goes through.
So
limestone.
if they get down and start branching out horizontally, they still have that loose limestone above them.
But if they can't go under that road, then nobody can go under.
That's right.
If we
Well-
can prove that Boneyard Road is public access,
It goes-
belongs to the people,
Right.
and the people don't want that mine, then
And
nobody can go under
Right.
there.
But I truly think the only way to fight this is going to be
In the courts.
In the court,
in the courts, but Dr. Geddick's
Social
social
license.
license.
Social
Now, we
license
talked about
already.
that. Did you touch on that?
no, she
No, we
didn't.
didn't.
Okay, a mining company wants a social license. There is no such thing.
It's not a piece of paper, but it
No,
exists.
it's not a document, a piece of paper, but what it is, it's a general consensus of the public, of the people that live there, that if they want the mine or they do not want the mine. But social acceptance is extremely important in something like this.
Especially
So,
for
you know,
investors.
the fact of bringing people together to unify their strength and their assets to push this back, I think we can do it. And you know, I've witnessed the way the attorney works, and we won't know a thing until they submit their feasibility study. In a feasibility study that is submitted to Eagle, then it becomes public property. Then we can request a copy of it, and we can see their actual intention of what they plan to do for the back 40. Then we can start breaking it down and seeing the weak parts and seeing if we can have any kind of a defense against this at that time.
So
and
we're
then,
fighting, we're out of time.
oh, I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay, finish your sentence.
I'm so sorry.
We
You
appreciate
can't stop me on a soapbox.
That's why
After the feasibility study, then they submit all of the permits to Eagle. And then, so we have the chance to fight against the study, and we have a chance to fight against every permit that is submitted to Eagle. So we do have a member of our board that's good personal friends with Mark Snow. He is the representative from Eagle, Michigan, Lansing. And so they talk periodically, and Mark just told him, he said, I have seen nothing come across my desk from Goro right now. But
I think they're just waiting for you to age out.
Well,
I'm already there.
Yeah. I mean, they're just waiting out because you are a strong person and you are fighting it the way that you see that it needs to be done. They're just hoping that you just go away.
The thing is that we need young people.
that's a great segue.
We-
Mr.
Everybody
Murray,
needs
thank
young
you so
people.
much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie.